Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Broad Podcaster. I'm Jennifer Fierro here in the Highland Lakes with Daniel Clifton, who covers Canyon Lake football for us. We're going to do a quick look, kind of set up the playoff picture somewhat based off of what we know today and what we do know already for our Burnet County viewers. We know that Burnet is going to go to the playoffs. We know that Davenport is going to the playoffs. We know Lampasas is going to the playoffs. And we know Taylor is going to the playoffs. The reason that we know Taylor is going is because when they beat Canyon Lake, that in essence gave them the win. And then most importantly, the head-to-head matchup win that you have to have in case there's a tiebreaker. So now that Taylor is going to Burnet on Friday night, that to me is the game of the week in the district. And the reason is because the winner of that game finishes at least third in the district. And that means they do not have to play Bernie High because Bernie High right now is ranked #1 in the state of Texas. And when I've talked to coaches privately, there's no question in my mind. Nobody wants to play Bernie in a bi-district championship. Burnet still has a few things to play for here. I was trying to pull up some of their stats and just looking through them. Brett Burry, the quarterback, has thrown for 1,734 yards. Grant Jones has 851 yards receiving. Let's see here. Nobody is even close. No one else is even close to that. Dash Ditton has 754 yards rushing this season. Nobody else is even close there. So I say that to you because I am curious to see what Taylor does. When Taylor played Marble Falls, one of the where I thought Taylor was dangerous. They went to their spread offense. They had their quarterback in the shotgun with a one back or two back set. And typically it was a one back where the one back kind of floated out. They had 3 to 4 receivers and they had one-on-one coverage. They forced the Mustangs to go one-on-one with them. And they were able to get their passing game going for that reason. Let me see here. As I was about to pull, I still have my Taylor notes from that game. Yeah, because I had them throwing for hundreds of yards that night, hundreds of yards. Multiple receivers with almost 200 yards receiving that night. So that's where I'm curious, Daniel, about. I'm not sure what Burnet will do because if I think that Burnet matches up pretty well with Taylor, but Taylor's team speed is that may be that's where they may have the edge, if you will.
Yeah, I think I agree the team speed, but I think Burnet came up with a game plan to control kind of Davenport's speed because Davenport's a pretty fast team too. And Davenport's a little bit bigger, I think, maybe bigger physically than Taylor. But Burnet seemed to be able to handle that. I think what it comes down to goes back to what you said earlier, it's turnovers. I think the team that can convert 1 or 2 turnovers or stop a drive with a turnover has the better chance. And we always say that cliche, but time and time proves out. If I can stop, they can stop. If Burnet can stop Taylor on a drive with a turnover, force a fumble, and then they lose that scoring drive, and they have a potential. Burnet comes and scores on them, and Burnet can show they can score on teams. So I think the turnovers will be what I'd be looking for. Who can force the extra turnover?
Let's rewind to 2022. Taylor beats Burnet by a single point. Because that last year, Burnet's kicker was not available. So Burnet, I want to say they scored first and then went for 2. And they missed the 2-point conversion. So they were chasing that extra point all night long. And it's a track meet. the defenses can't stop the other team's offense. So finally, it comes down to which team has the ball last. Taylor has the ball last, and I want to say they ran out the clock. I think they were able to run out the clock and then take that fourth spot. I have always said and maintained that that game is what fuels this pack of Bulldog players, not the coaches, the players. It's what drives them every day. It's what made them get extra lifts. It's what made them get extra reps. This game. Do you think there's a possibility that Burnet enters this game too pumped up?
Yes, because they're coming off two big road wins. They're home. You're right. It's Taylor. Taylor knocked them out of the playoffs last year. It's their home game, the last game for their seniors at home. So they could really be a little too much. And that's where the coaching comes in. That's where I think your coaches will play the role. Yes, it's important for them to be hyped up and pumped up, but the coaches got to make sure it's not too much. And how do they level that out and focus that? But you're right. I think it's possible they could. But looking at what these coaches have done the last two games, I think they got a good handle. They know how to read their kids, and they know how to keep them steady.
Yeah, Burnet right now is on a winning streak because they've won 3 consecutive district games, 6-3
Yeah.
overall, first in district. They're on a 3-game winning streak, trying to finish this thing off right. We had talked at the beginning of district play if there was a possibility to have multiple district champions, co-district champions, if you will. I'm not surprised that there's because I do believe Lampasas will win. Unfortunately, I think Davenport will beat Marble Falls rather. And unless Marble Falls just has something that they have saved for Davenport that I have not seen. I
Yeah.
can't I is that possible? Sure, anything is possible. It's why you play. I just I'm not that's out of coach. I have said this about the slot T. The slot T to me, and I've said this to my family because I have 3 family members who played for Coach Herman. And I've told them, this is really, I honestly believe this. This is what Herman wants you to do coming out of the huddle. When you have the defense standing in front of you and they're confused about what you're going to run, I think Herman wants you to tell them. Jeremiah Bells is going to block this guy. Gavin Hernandez is going to block this kid. Our fullback's going to come right behind him. He's going to block this linebacker. We're going to toss the ball to our tailback. He's going to get the ball. He's going to go right up the middle, and he's going to go score, and you can't stop us. I honestly believe that's how Coach Herman coaches a slot team. I really, really do. Because it's a way of life. It's a mindset. And that's because it's an attack. It's an offense that wants to knock people off of the line of scrimmage and set a tone to enforce your will on the opponent. And I say all of that because that's why I doubt very much Coach Herman has saved something for Davenport that he hasn't shown.
Yeah.
I just don't.
And what?
That's not in his character.
Yeah, and then why save it for this last game when you could have probably used it earlier and get those wins? So yeah, I think you're right. It's gonna be you want Mustangs are it'd be nice for them to go out with a win. It's gonna be a hard road to toe on that one.
Yeah, this is where the schedule didn't do him any favors.
No.
This year, the best, you know, the 3 teams that Marble Falls had the best chance against, Marble Falls played the first 3 weeks of the district campaign. The last 2 weeks have proven where I don't think any of us are surprised by Lampasas and Davenport's success. I do think I I know I said this. I thought Burnet was a playoff team this year. Wasn't surprised by that. Um, did not know what to think about Taylor and Canyon Lake because I saw
Yeah.
them both play Marble Falls, and they are so similar. minus one thing. I think Davenport was fast. I'm sorry. I think Taylor is faster. They just have such great team speed. But they love both teams threw the ball very well against the Marble Falls defense, and that's where I think Davenport will try to exploit again and see. Of course, if Marble Falls drops 8 back, Davenport probably has enough in the arsenal to run the football. With that said, though, with Burnet, that would be the only concern I would have. The Bulldogs are too pumped up for this one because they've waited an entire year for this particular ball game. And then, of course, you have the added importance because the pressure of winning to get in the playoffs is not there.
Yeah, they're
That's
in.
off. Now it's about winning so that you can get a better seed. Because I will tell you, I think if Burnet plays Fredericksburg, Burnet will win that game. Just looking at it, they won't though because Burnet Fredericksburg is tied for second
Second with
place in
Uvalde,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's a chance there because if Burnet goes in as a third place team, they'll play the District 14 runner up in that So it'll either be Fredericksburg or Uvalde. Um, but if it's Fredericksburg, I think Burnet beats Fredericksburg. At least the Fredericksburg team I saw in late September. Just
Yeah.
saying. Um, because I just think that Burnet is that much better, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Because the district champ, Davenport will probably get Somerset. I was told privately, Somerset didn't. Somerset is a fine team, but there's not anything about Somerset that particularly scares coaches in District 13 right now. I was told that privately by a couple of the coaches. They just don't see it. But nobody wants to play Barney.
Yeah.
That's the consensus. No one wants to play Barney in the first round. That's the consensus I've gotten.
Yeah,
That's about
Bernie's
the
on an
only thing
eight
they can all
win.
agree on.
Was Bernie's got 8 wins in a row, their winning streak. They lost the first game of the season and won everything since. And is that right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
so.
That's and I was going to see who beat them in the season
Flower
opener.
Bluff.
Oh, good grief, Corpus Christi.
Flower Bluff beat them.
Yeah, by a touchdown. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. And of course, Bernie plays Fredericksburg on Friday night. Bernie should end up winning that game, no sweat. The only thing that I can think of there is that maybe because, um, Bernie right now is 4-0 in that district. You don't want to lose and not risk being a co-district champ
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying, win it outright. So I say that because you don't want to drop any more in the seeds, take the easier road, go in as the number one seed. With that said, the reason I bring that up is because that makes me think Barney won't rest their starters. Like they may pull
Yeah.
them, but they'll go with their starters to start the game.
They'll start the game with starters, and then as it progresses, if they get a good enough lead, they'll rest them and pull them
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, Anything else you want to say or mention? Anything I failed to ask you want me to know? You have a question for me?
No, I think we're pretty good. Um, how you concentrating on this with girls basketball starting up? I think we start Friday night. I think our
Yes.
girls start Friday night at the games.
Yes, that's correct. And so do my Lady Mustangs, defending district champs.
Ooh,
They tip off the season on Friday night in the max 6:30. I'm hoping that Coach Berkman flips that time a little bit and starts closer to 6, or lets his varsity play first and then puts the sub varsity after that. But I do plan on getting a quick meal and heading to the Max to watch the Lady Mustangs play before going to Mustang Stadium to watch the football team and see what the Mustangs have to say. Uh, and obviously from a personal standpoint with my nephew, this is a senior
yeah,
year. He and his parents, he'll be honored, so he'll walk with his parents as and be part of that 2024 senior class that gets honored before kickoff. So I'm sure I need to be on the field for that as well.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Daniel, thank you. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Look forward to doing this again. Maybe we'll do this again next week. If you still want to do it, Burnet will be in the playoffs. We may
Yeah.
only do one small segment, but at least it'll be something, right?
I think it'd be good to do. Get
Okay.
everybody
All right.
finalize the playoffs picture next week. We can see what happens.
It'll be fun. Okay. For Daniel Clifton, I'm Jennifer Fierro, your broad podcaster here in the Highland Lakes. Join us next week when we'll do a playoff preview. And as always, for all of your Highland Lake sports news, go to TexasChalkTalk.com. Enjoy the games, everyone.